Okay, we're getting up to Kennedy Meadows. Tons of people here, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's what they do when you get here. Pretty cool. So when you get to Kennedy Meadows, there's a place called 2 Foot Adventures. Grumpy Bears has Triple Crown Outfitters. So if you need gear or food or stuff like that, these are the people that help you out and you know, get the gear you might need when you continue north. And so Triple Crown was here last year. Now they've really made the place homey, I guess. It's kind of cool. Yeah. So
Wiki on trail.
Wiki.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to you. So we gave you your bandana. You got it.
You did get it, yes.
We rented a car and came here anyway. To see everybody. Yes, exactly. To see my friends and. What is it? Yeah, it's really fun.
wow, there's actually some pretty good deals in here. Lots of, like, this is what you need. They know it too.
Would you like a basket? You're good? Okay.
All right.
Great work!
They're headed for the Sierras.
You guys cache some food for us out there, alright? Just like stash it someplace, that'd be great. Leave a blood trail somewhere.
Snowshoes, crampons, not just micro spikes
There's
either.
so many people put their cans on top like that.
You don't like it?
No room. No
Yeah.
room
Mine
inside.
goes inside. Yeah, mine will go inside.
Mine does too.
I couldn't deal with the weight like that.
Thank you.
So this is the tenting area at Kennedy Meadows at the general store behind it. So there's my tent. It's not very many flat spots, not enough. And then you got all of these tents. And there was at least a dozen people left today to head for the Sierras. Heavy packs, snowshoes. You saw pictures of some of the people leaving. All right, so this is kind of a wrap-up video. I'm now in Los Angeles, and you'll have to excuse the background noise. There's airplanes overhead. I found a hotel. There's several, but anyway, I'm at a hotel near the airport. It also happens to be near Highway 405, the infamous 405 in LA. So it can get a bit noisy. It's where I'm at the pool at the hotel. And it's quiet here, relatively. So when I left Kennedy Meadows, Trail Angel Cindy gave us a ride to, 3 of us actually, Jean and myself and a young fella getting off trail gave us a ride to Lancaster. And they were taking the train to LA, to Burbank, to catch flights home. I was planning to take a shuttle to Los Angeles airport and then just get an Uber or a cab over here to the hotel. But my plans went off the rails because the shuttle canceled the next 2 shuttles to LA, and I would have had to leave Lancaster about 8 o'clock. So I quickly Ubered over to the train, ended up riding the train, the Metro Link, with Jean, Chris, the other hiker, and then met 2 other hikers, including one from Ottawa, a woman who was heading home. She's the only hiker I've met on this trip that actually went into the Sierras, but she got off the first pass that she could at Lone Pine. It was just too difficult. She said she just couldn't do it. So we both ended up at Union Station, and she took a direct bus to LAX, the airport, and I figured out how to get here using the Los Angeles bus system, which was interesting. It took about an hour and a half on the bus system with my backpack, and right through downtown LA. And unfortunately, when I got off the bus, my backpack, that bus was packed. So getting off was a bit of a challenge, but I made it here. So I'm okay with being here because I have to go home, but I've wandered around a few times, and now I know why I value the trail so much. When I've gone for a walk to find a place to eat, and you just see the traffic and the people, and the difference between taking a walk down a street or across the freeway versus getting up in the morning and going for a hike for 15 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail. Just no comparison. Now I know why I value it so much. Frankly, I just don't like being here that much. So I know it's part of getting home, but I really dislike it. So anyway, that's part of getting around. So I made a few notes, and I'm gonna just refer to those notes every now and again because I don't want to miss anything. But first of all, I ended up hiking 259 miles from Acton to Kennedy Meadows. So now that I've completed that, and that's the part I skipped last year, I've actually continuously hiked up a little over 900 miles, 907 miles to Reds Meadow. So when I continue, again, possibly later this year, I'm going to start at Reds Meadow, which is at that 907 mark. So that's I feel pretty good about that. And as I mentioned, physically I felt great. So I'm hoping that when I go again, I'm going to hopefully feel just as good as I did on this trip. I didn't fall this time. It's the only hike, so I've done 5 different visits to the PCT, and I've fallen once on each of the 4 previous hikes. I didn't fall this time, which was, I slipped a few times, but not falling, that's a bonus because a lot of people do fall at least once. Something you've noticed, I'm sure, is I have the sniffles when I'm hiking. Can't get rid of it. I take antihistamines. I've tried a few different things. I don't know. it seems exercise induced. I just end up with the sniffles, and it varies sometimes from day to day, but every day I get it. So appreciate you putting up with that. I also appreciate anybody who's watching putting up with my camera work. Not the best, but you know, it's not intended to be you know, filled with music and oops, like that, putting my hand in front of the camera. So this is what's going to happen when I film. And if you're okay with that, then thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I wanted, you know, so I made a few notes, as I said. And one of the things I wrote down was people that I met, including people from Sweden, Denmark, Germany, France, Great Britain, Netherlands, Tasmania was an interesting place for a person to come from. Never expected to meet someone from Tasmania. And then, of course, Americans and Canadians. Some of the people that I want to mention are those guys doing the trail magic, Giddy and Wiki. Those two guys, it's quite nice what they did, because and the reason they set up the trail magic was because they had to wait a couple days for a friend of theirs, and they rented a vehicle to go pick him up here in LA over the weekend. And they thought, well, since, you know, why not, let's do trail magic before we go pick him up. And what a cool idea. And I'm definitely planning to do that. When I come down, next time I come down with a vehicle, I'm going to take a day and do some trail magic myself. It looked like a lot of fun. Great way to meet a lot of people, and you kind of pay it forward a little bit. The total, let's see, it was May 3rd to May 21st, is 18 days of hiking and one full day off, which was in Tehachapi. A couple other people I wanted to mention. I think I showed you on a video Triple Crown Outfitters, their place at Kennedy Meadows. That's actually near Grumpy Bears, and where you can buy trail needs, you know, anything from a tent to shoes to food. At Kennedy Meadows, I didn't show you a video of the trailer, but there's a company called 2 Foot Adventures. And I met the owner. Her name's Mary, trail name's Pillsbury, and had some really good conversations with her. Learned a lot from her. She's a very experienced hiker. She has a partner. They own the business. They have, I think, 3 trailers, and so they move the trailers around to be around the hikers. I also saw one of their trailers at Agua Dulce, and I stopped there for a few minutes and met her partner. I think it was her partner. So really good person, cool to talk with. I'm going to try and show you a picture of her. And I learned a lot from her, so I'm looking forward to using some of her experience and maybe even meeting her again, who knows. The other person that I want to talk about is John. Hiked with him, probably at least 2 weeks, and got to know him pretty well. He's from Paris, but he's lived in California for the last 25 years. So he's Californian, he's American, but he always identified himself as a French person. And of course, you can tell with his accent. And it was pretty cool when we met other French people. He had, you know, some pretty good conversations with them. He's retired. He worked for the San Francisco County, and man, his pace was similar to mine. His goals, daily goals, as far as where to camp, and that was so similar to mine. We just decided, well, let's hike together, and we had some really good conversations as well. So I consider him one of my trail friends now, for sure, and We've talked about maybe getting together to do some hiking in the future. We're certainly going to let each other know if we're hiking somewhere and maybe the other person can join us. We'll see if that happens, but I'm hoping it does because I really like the guy. The other part, or the other thing about Jean, which I found interesting. So I'm not on Facebook, but if you are on Facebook, check out a Facebook page that he set up. It's called L'amour de la montagne, and which is love of the mountain. He set that up a few years ago for people to go on and post pictures of mountains and hiking that they've done. And so I'm promoting that for him to because he's got a lot of French people on it. He wants to add more North Americans. Here's the interesting part. He's got 65,000 followers set up in the last 4 or 5 years. So he's done really well with that, and by accident. He hasn't really promoted it, but he does mention it to people all the time. So I'm mentioning it here for him as well. Overall, that hike was quite enjoyable for me. It seemed more so than the last few, and it also shows me that I can do 250 plus miles. So future hikes, as I get going further north, I'm hoping to do longer, maybe 400 or 500 miles. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I can do it physically. I just have to make sure I get the logistics right. Desert's over, and now from now till the Canadian border, there'll be some warm areas, hot areas, but it's all pretty much up and down through the mountains and the valleys. So the next time I do some videos, it'll be from Central and Northern California. And I want to thank everybody who's watched these videos for watching them. Obviously, when I see you, or if I see you or you see me and you have a question, don't hesitate to ask.